So welcome to Catchup with myself, Shaun, and today I'm joined by Kevin Marshall. How you doing, Kev?
Yeah, I'm good, Sean. Thanks, mate. How are you?
Good. Obviously, I've asked you to join us today to have a wee bit of a chat about the East of Scotland Premier League and sort of how their season's faring up. You're obviously get around quite a few games yourself, all over sort of Fife, and it'd be interesting to get some of your thoughts.
Yep, that's cool. I'm up for that. Yep.
If we dive right into it and we have a look at how the East of Scotland Premier League are looking at the moment, it's sort of looking like there's a bit of a gap starting to be made with Bo'ness and Hillabeath Hawthorn at the top. How do you think those two are faring this season for what you've seen?
Yeah, well, I've seen a wee bit of Hillabeath this season. It's kind of one of my default teams. If Kelty are away, I'll always go down there. And I've seen Bo'ness a couple of times, and I have to say I've been impressed with them both times I've seen them. It was both of them were in Fife. They came over right early on in the season and to Crossgates, and they gave them a bit of hammering, to be honest. And then the other time was at Hillabeath, which was a really good game. Finished 2-1 to Bo'ness, although the Hawes had taken the lead in the first half. So I think you're right. The two of them seem to be the teams to beat. I don't think Tranent are too far behind, but I did see Tranent just a couple of weeks ago up at Perth at Jeanfield, and I don't know, they just looked a wee bit flat. If I'm honest, I think they looked like they were panicking a wee bit. You know what it's like at these games. You're standing pretty close to the park, and you can hear a lot of what's being said. And I just felt they seemed off the edgy, if that's maybe the right word. So I would certainly think. I don't think any of the top sort of 4 or 5 are out of it yet, but you've got to say Bo'ness and Hillabeath are the pace setters just now.
Trinent are sitting third at the moment. I think they're a good 11, 12 points off of Bo'ness with a game in hand, but across the whole, the rest of the season, there's still 11 games to be played within that league. And we've seen it. I'm sure we've both seen it with East of Scotland teams where when you get to sort of the business end of the league, there's a lot of cup games in there as well, and sometimes that can be a bit detrimental to the more successful teams because they're playing 2, sometimes 3 games in a week towards the end of the season, which that can open up opportunities for your Trinents and your Broxburns to make a wee bit of a push towards the end of the season. So I definitely wouldn't write anybody off at the moment, but yeah, those are the two teams that at the moment they're starting to create a bit of a gap. However, having a look at the recent fixtures, I think both sides are coming off of sort of disappointing results in the league because if I remember right, Bo'ness, they lost away to Whitehill, which was a bit of a surprise in the league there right before they had that big game against Bonnie Rig Rose. Because Whitehill, a team that was struggling a little bit at the bottom there, I think everybody was expecting Bo'ness to win in that one, and yeah, Whitehill showed that it's still a very competitive league.
I mean, it does show you can still throw up some strange results from time to time. It is sometimes a wee bit misleading looking at the league when you look at how many games in hand some of the teams have got. So I think Bo'ness have probably played. So they've played more games than all the teams around about them. So Hillabeath there got three games in hand. So it's always one of the things I probably say it every time I come on this pod. It is always difficult. Would you rather have the games in hand or would you rather have the points on the board? And I think at this time of the season, you've got to say if you're Bo'ness, you'd rather have the points in the bag. Because as you said, the fixtures can start to pile up as we get near to the climax of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hillabeath, I don't have any numbers down, but I know they're still in quite a few cup competitions. We're recording this obviously on Tuesday, and the Football Nations Qualifying Cup gets drawn later on this evening as well. So their schedule is going to be pretty heavy as the season goes on. So I think that's a side that's definitely going to be set. Bo'ness are going to be a side that are sitting there quite happy that they've got the lead and they've already managed to get 19 of their games out already out of the way for the season. So as we sort of look to how the Lowland League could shape up next season, if we were to take into consideration these two sides, how do you think they fare? We've obviously seen Kelty Hearts make the jump, and then more recently Bonnyrigg Rose, both sides currently sitting first and second in the Lowland League. How do you think these two teams would fare if they were to make that jump?
I did have a wee look at just general East of Scotland teams against Lowland League teams from this season's cup competition. So when you look down the list, I think in most instances the Lowland League team has won, but most of the time it's quite a tight. It's not like anybody's had a real doing from a Lowland League team or anything like that. Tranent beat Berwick Rangers in the cup. I think Bo'ness only lost out to BSC Glasgow in extra time. They're maybe Berwick Rangers maybe no too much a surprise because they are struggling in the Lowland League, but BSC are one of they're one of the top sides in that league, and like I say, it took them an extra time to beat Bo'ness. So I think just generally when you look down there, there's no huge disparity in scores in the cup competitions. And I know the cup competitions, obviously it's a one-off and things like that, but you look at how well Kelty and Bonnyrigg have settled into that league, and I think they've injected a wee bit of energy and a wee bit of I don't know, competitive spirit or something like that into the Lowland League. So I think that they have kind of freshened things up a wee bit, and I don't see any reason why any of the teams that are coming up from the top half of the East of Scotland couldn't do the same thing. Maybe not to the same extent, but I certainly don't think they would disgrace themselves. Either of the teams that we've talked about there would embarrass themselves in the Lowland League by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think we're going to see the Lowland League go from strength to strength with a handful of these teams getting added. I mean, you were mentioning about cup ties there and one-offs. Like I say, I don't have any figures to hand, but if I remember right, I think Pennycook have had a fair bit of success against Lowland League sides in cup competitions. I think they beat Cumbernauld in the cup, and I'm sure they had a bit of success against someone else as well, and they're sitting sort of mid-table at the moment in that East Scotland Premier League. So there's definitely a few sides within here that could probably add something to the Lowland League over the next couple of seasons.
I was just going to say, if you look at it, the only team that's probably had a bit of a doing has been Crossgate's got beat 4-0 by Cali Braves. But I mean, as we've said already, Cali Braves are near the top of that league as well. So I think that they have generally fared quite well. But just now, in a few weeks' time, we've got East Kilbride versus Camelin, which again, they're both teams that are towards the top half of their respective leagues. So I think that one there might be quite a good yardstick, if you like, of how an East of Scotland team might fare in the Lowland League.
It'll be a good indicator of where the gap is just now. It's East Kilbride are still a very good team within the Lowland League, and Camelin, like you say, they're a team that are on a bit of stride. On the flip side, teams that could make that jump up into the Lowland League, we've got a few sides that are sort of in a bit of a relegation battle in the Lowland League at the moment, with Gretna, Dalbeattie Star, Edinburgh Uni and Vale Leithen sort of all hovering around about the relegation zone. We obviously saw Whitehill drop down last season, and they didn't have the best start to the season. They've started to pick up a few points now, but how do you think those sides would fare? Obviously, Dalbeattie Star will drop into the south of Scotland, but my understanding is Gretna, Edinburgh Uni or Vale would drop down in the east of Scotland. How do you think they would fare in a very competitive Premier League down there?
Well, again, it's for quite a few seasons there wasn't any relegation from the Lowland League as such, so it tends to get a wee bit stale at the bottom of the league when you've got something like that. And I think if any of those sides that we talked about were dropping into the East of Scotland League, they probably would struggle because they're obviously short on confidence. None of the sides there have got any more than a couple of wins under their belt all season long, and it's difficult to just suddenly turn that around. in the higher leagues, you talk about yo-yo clubs sometimes that are always, dropping down a league and then winning that league and going back getting promoted the next season. But I think when your confidence is as low as it is, obviously with your Dalbeatties and your Vale Leathens and sides like that, it's really difficult to just turn that around by dropping it into another league, especially when that other league is really competitive. So, I would fear for any of these sides dropping in there just now. And you mentioned it yourself about White Hill and how we've seen them struggle really to adapt to the East of Scotland Premier League. So I think there's enough quality in that East of Scotland Premier League to cause any of those sides any trouble if they were to drop down.
We've seen it with the Lowland League, and you also see it with the East of Scotland Premier, and even the first divisions, the two conferences below that. They're great leagues to watch week in week out, and some really good teams in there. So you've got to think maybe for some of your sides, that are kind of hovering year in year out around the bottom of the Lowland League, that for them to drop down into a league where they can be competitive, it's got to be better for their players to build that confidence. It's got to be better for their fans, and likewise to see some of the sides that are consistently up near the top of the East of Scotland, to see them jump up into the Lowland League and make the Lowland League more competitive. It's only going to be a good thing for football across the board, to be honest, because you don't want to be I'll single out Vale leaving because they're sitting at the bottom of the league, but you don't want to be a Vale leaving that's getting beaten quite heavily week in week out. You want to go down into a league where you can compete and build up a bit of strength and a bit of momentum, I suppose. So I think it can only be a good thing.
Big hammerings week in and week out can be good for the club as a whole. The whole atmosphere around the place is bound to be quite depressing, really. So you're right there. If you are able to drop down and adapt, then absolutely, I think it does probably give the whole club a lift. But I mean, I've consciously made the effort to try and go to some of the conference games as well, and again, round about my local area. And some of the teams that I've seen there, St Andrews, Canoe, Burnt Island, Glenrothes, these are all sides that I think on their day they're all pretty capable. And the only difference really that I can see between them and the lower half of the Premier League is just the consistency. I've seen enough quality there to think that they're good enough to get the odd result now and again. It's just being able to string that together that they probably struggle with. But I mean, certainly Glenrothes are one of the new sides into the East of Scotland this season, and I have to say I was really impressed with them. I've only seen them once, I think, this season, but I was really impressed with some of the quality that they had on display that day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've not been to see any of the first division stuff, but I've been down to see a couple of the games in the East Scotland Premier, and it's just as interesting and competitive as watching a game in the Lowland League. No doubt about it. Out of the games, the teams that you've watched this season, is there any teams in particular that have sort of caught your eye in and around the two East of Scotland leagues?
Well, like I say, it's the top half of the Premier is probably where the quality sides are. I've probably said that a few times. I really like going to watch Jeanfield. It's a cracking wee setup there, and they have got a decent side. That they play a bit of football, and sometimes they maybe let results slip away for them and stuff like that, but they are a decent side to watch. They play the game in the right way. They keep it on the deck and they knock it about, and so I do like watching them. And the other side, I suppose, that maybe is slipping under the radar a wee bit, that I think they're sitting in sixth just now, Dundonald. So although they're sitting in sixth position, they're actually the highest scorers in the league. They are a team that score a lot of goals. They just didn't seem to be able to turn that into results. But everybody wants to go and see a team that scores a lot of goals. So I think Dundonald's always quite an interesting side to watch as well.
Yeah, Jeanfield, they're a team that they were one that I really had my eye on at the beginning of the season with this new East Scotland Premier, and I sort of wrote them off a bit too early. But when you go back and you have a look, I mean, they played Hillabeath, Bowness, Tranent, Pennycook in 4 of their first 5 games, so it was always going to be a tough start to their season there. But they're on a decent bit of a run. They've obviously just got Chris Dodds in from Kelty, who was at playing at Genefield previously, which is only going to, I think, add a bit of strength to their side as well. So I think that's a team that's going to continue to climb up the league as sort of the season goes on, I suppose. And yeah, I think Dundonald, they're starting to rack up a few goals now as well. Again, they were a side that were a wee bit quieter early on in the season, but they've got a wee bit of momentum going behind them now. So two very interesting sides. I think you're spot on there for the West of Scotland to join into the pyramids. How do you think that's going to impact East of Scotland?
I've not seen an awful lot of those sides. I only really get to see them firsthand if they come over to this neck of the woods. But I mean, we all know the big names across there. There's some real good sides over there that would be a good addition to any of the leagues, really. There's a lot of teams over there that could easily compete in League Two and maybe even higher. And I understand that there's some of them who would like to keep their junior status because it's their heritage and their history and they're proud of that, and that's cool. I'm absolutely I absolutely respect that. If that's what they want to do, is stay in the junior setup, then that's fine. But there are teams, I'm quite sure, who would like to see a route into league football, and if that's what they want to do, I think it's pretty much impossible for them to stand in their way forever. So I can't see that it's not going to happen at some point, to be perfectly honest. And like I say, whether they get into the tier 6 or tier 5 or whatever, I think any one of those sides would be instantly competitive with a lot of the sides that you and I see in week and week out, Sean.
There's a lot of pride in the juniors' heritage there, but I think for the bigger picture, I suppose it's where the ceiling is, and playing the junior sides week in week out, it's brilliant, especially considering it is such a competitive league. But there's a bunch of teams out there that they don't play, and there's a bunch of teams that don't get to play the junior teams competitively across the leagues. And I suppose for me, that's where I would love to see it all come together and all join up, and so that we can see essentially the best of the juniors face off against the best of the Lowland, the best of the East of Scotland, as to try to make a sort of route towards that SPFL2 sort of spot. So yeah, I'm all for it as well. Totally agree with you there.
I know it looks like there's a bit of an impasse at the minute, and I'm sure they will get a resolution somehow, but I think you just got to look back to, what was it, 3 seasons ago when Kelty were the first ones to kind of stick their heads up from the East Region juniors, and there was a few comments made about that at the time, but it was very quickly followed by the mass exodus from the East Region juniors. So maybe it's going to take one of the big names over in the West to just bite the bullet and go for it, and you might find that opens the floodgates then for any of the other sides who are keen to make it into league football. And I've got to say, I think the way the East of Scotland League accommodated the massive applications that they got in a really quite a short period of time, the way they reacted to that, and they did the league reconstruction with the 3 conferences, I think the job they did in a very short period of time has to be a huge credit to them. So it just shows that if everybody's pulling in the same direction, it is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely commendable, and this sort of finished product for East of Scotland, this Premier Division's, it's fantastic, and it's worked around. But the work around with the 3 conferences and how this sort of develops as the years go by, it's some fantastic work for those guys, which it's only going to support all these players and clubs progress essentially, which I suppose is the end game. So really good to see. I suppose before we wrap up, I've got to ask you sort of for a bit of prediction. How do you see the East of Scotland finishing up at the end of the season? And we've got Hillabeef, who are they're 3 games off the pace, and they're 10 points behind. If we were to give them the benefit of the doubt with 3 wins there, it'd put them, pretty much neck and neck with Bo'ness. Who do you think's got that extra little bit to finish off the season and potentially gain promotion into the Lowland League?
When I knew I was coming on, I did a wee bit of sums and I kind of I'd done some calculations from where they are just now to where they could be. So if Bo'ness were to win every game between now and the end of the season, and that's a big if, let's not kid ourselves, a lot of things can happen, and the Hawes were to do the same, then Bo'ness would finish on 76 points and Hillabeith would finish on 75. So that's how tight it is. And I think Tranent are probably not too far behind. The thing for Tranent is they've still got to play Hillabeith twice and they've still got to play Bo'ness once. So, and it's all within a really short period of time as well. I think it's only about 3 weeks or 4 weeks they've got to play those 3 games. So, that'll be a big ask. It's a big ask for all the sides, to be honest. But I think that probably separate the men for the boys those games. I think I do like Hillabeith the way they play. I know I get a bit of stick for this at Kelly. I think John Mitchell's got them playing well, got them playing to their strengths, and they are a young side. They've got a bit of pace in the team. But the thing with Bo'ness that I think that marks them a wee bit different is they've got a couple of players on their side with Lowland League experience, guys that you and I all know, like say Ian Nimmo and Brian Ritchie. They've got Craig Comrie and Ryan Adamson. They've all played in the Lowland League in the last couple of seasons, so maybe just that extra wee bit of experience at a slightly higher level is maybe just the difference between those two sides. But there's not going to be much in it. I think it's going to be nip and tuck right to the very end.
Absolutely. I think if Bo'ness do manage to do that, they've got the head-to-head with the 2 wins over Hillabeith as well, so they'll probably be able, if they do pip Hillabeith to at the end, they're going to be able to put a little bit of credit to those two fixtures that they've already played, I suppose. So I want to first of all obviously thank yourself for coming on to hear a wee chat about this for myself and for the listeners to give us a wee hand there. Thank you very much for coming on today.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening.